Welcome to this week's Quick Tech Show. Let's get right into the news. First thing, Apple Music is now on Android finally. So for people who may have wanted to use Apple Music on Android, it's available now. Naturally, people gave it bad reviews because people are assholes. More Apple stuff. Sorry. Apple may be working on a person-to-person mobile payment service. You know, kind of like what Square originally did with the little dongles that you could swipe for credit cards, but this with Apple Pay. So if you need to loan someone $20 and you both have iPhones, you can just, send that $20 through Apple Pay. Just make it a little easier. And finally, once again, another iOS news. Sorry. Firefox is finally on iOS. People who still use Firefox are probably really happy about this. I use Chrome, and I use Chrome on iOS as well. But for people who want to use Firefox and in the Firefox ecosystem, this is now an option for you. You don't have to use Safari. You can use Firefox, though ultimately they all are using Safari in the background. Truthfully, it's more the experience of the wrapper around the browser. For me, Chrome, I use Chrome on the desktop, so everything kind of syncs up together very nicely. If you use Firefox, they have similar stuff, so everything can kind of sync up together for you nicely as well, finally. So, let's start with questions. First question this week, how do I store important information or important personal information on my computer? Which can be somewhat difficult, especially if you want to be able to access that information on other things. So, on Windows, you have the option of BitLocker. You could always create like a virtual hard drive and then use BitLocker to encrypt that virtual drive with all your important information in that file. On OS X, you have the similar option with File Decryptor or something like that, I think it is. And that will do pretty much do the same process, make like a virtual drive and then put everything that you want to keep safe in there, and you just encrypt that and decrypt that as you need it. Last option is the option I use, is VeraCrypt. It's a port of, or yeah, I guess it'd be a port of TrueCrypt, which was in the news a lot, like this time last year, I think it was, when the developers said they weren't going to touch it anymore. They weren't going to do any new versions. So the people at VeraCrypt picked up on that and are continuing development of it. So you can still use basically TrueCrypt safely, but it's now VeraCrypt, and it works pretty much the same way. It looks exactly the same. So if you used TrueCrypt before, VeraCrypt will be easy. You can pick up easily. It will even uncrypt TrueCrypt files. There's a checkbox that you can click, and it will decrypt and re-encrypt TrueCrypt files. So those are a couple of options that you may have, that you might want to try. Veracrypt's nice because it works on, OS 10, Windows, Linux, all those. The only problem might be if you want to use it on your phone. Be able to view those files on the phone, like decrypt them. That's a little harder to do. Next question is, how do I protect myself from malware? And the real answer is, it's really up to you how you get protected, because it comes down to what you do. If you're clicking links in emails and downloading torrents from who knows where and who knows who, eventually you're gonna get bit. If you do it safely, like maybe if you're downloading torrents, maybe use like a virtual machine to download the torrents to, and then once they're safe, use like Defender to scan them, and you reasonably know you're safe, then you can take them out of that virtual machine and bring them to your regular desktop. Stuff like that, because like a virtual machine, if it gets infected, who cares? Just hose it, restart. Your regular, the host machine, it gets infected. Depending on what you have on it, you're kind of screwed. Yeah. So it really ultimately depends on what you do, whether or not, so just beware of what you're doing. If you feel like it's risky, then you know what, don't do it. And the last question, why am I getting pop-ups saying that my computer is infected? Your computer probably isn't infected. Those pop-ups are designed to look like an actual pop-up that may come up on your computer saying your computer's infected, to scare you, to try to get you to download whatever tool they want you to download, which is actually in fact the virus or the malware, spyware that's going to infect your machine. So just ignore them. I don't know where you're going, where you're seeing that. I mean, it happens, especially when you're doing schoolwork and you're, searching all over Google, and eventually you run into sites like that have those pop-ups, or even legitimate sites get hacked, and those pop-ups pop up. It happens. Just ignore it. If you're on Windows, just run Defender. If you're on Mac, you're probably safe. Just don't worry about it. Linux, probably the same thing. Don't worry about it. Just ignore them. They've been around forever. They're probably never going away. Just like the calls that you probably might get every now and then from Microsoft tech support from India, saying that your computer, something's wrong with your computer. Once again, not a real thing. Just ignore them. Block the number if you can. So that's about it for this week. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, or email me at mikesworldofTech@gmail.com. Until next week, bye.